Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So I tried to do auto layout for the box and the line in the box. Remember?
Yeah.
So I tried doing the auto layout, so it seemed could not work together. I don't know why.
Okay, so it's just shift A. So the thing is you have to take it individually. But like I said, what we just did that day was just the shift and A. Auto layout as a topic will be covered.
All right,
Yeah.
no problem then.
All right, guys. So I want to introduce someone on this call. Her name is Ellen, a very good product designer. Um, she's going to take you guys from now. Um, I have to actually go out to do something. So Ellen, can you hear me? Hi, Ellen.
Hi, I can hear you. Good afternoon.
Yeah, okay. Good afternoon, guys. So Ellen will be taking you today's class, and I'll add that to the WhatsApp group chat so that you can also ask any question you want to ask. So if you have any other thing you can ask me, send your questions on WhatsApp. I really have to leave this call now. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye.
Hello, guys. Good afternoon, everybody. I believe you guys can hear me.
Yes, please. Good afternoon.
Okay. Okay, so I'll be sharing my screen now and let's talk about the topic. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay, sorry, just give me 1 minute. Let me put all my stuff on do not disturb because of distraction. Okay, so guys, I heard you guys talking about wireframe, and I believe you guys started working the low fidelity, I guess so. And you guys have talked about very, very much of the UX, and I believe you guys understood what UX is all about. Yeah, yes, that is very, very good, very, very good. So before we continue, I will reintroduce myself again. Toma has already done that, but I'm just going to reintroduce myself. My name is Hedy Chiwike. Most of my friends call me Cook, Design Cook. So I based in Port Harcourt, and Uma is actually a very good mentor and a very friend of mine. I have been following. She actually inspired me to do more better in this field. So let's just say she's my friend and she's also my mentor. Okay, so today we're going to talk about style guide, or we're going to know everything about style guide and how it's very, very helpful, how it's very, very important, how it's actually like a guide, how it's actually a toolbox for we to carry out our high field design. I know you've been seeing a lot of fine designs on Dribble, on Behance, on everywhere on your social media platform, and you will see that the design, most of the card, the buttons on different screens, everything is consistent, everything look good. Oh, I actually love the way this card is being designed. I love how everything is being aligned, properly arranged. So all those things are not something that you just, open your Figma and then start crafting out those screens or start moving your low fidelity wireframe into high fidelity wireframe. There are actually a guide. I do call it toolbox for beginners. It's like a toolbox where you get to pick what you want and then place it on your high feed. Just like, oh, I want all my buttons to look like this, and then you pick it inside your toolbox, and then all your buttons is going to be the same way. Oh, I want the size of all my body and text to be thin. You want it regular. You don't want it to be too big. You don't want it this. You want it particular way. All those things are something you're going to get from your toolbox, and then you place it into your UI, into your high fidelity UI designs. Now, all those things now comes immediately after your wireframe. where you have the skeleton design. All those things comes immediately when you get to know, oh, this is how I want my button to look like. This is the size of the images I want to use like. This is the size of this particular icon I want to use like. This is the particular icon collections. All those things comes before your high fidelity design. So today we're going to look at what it's called and why is it very, very important, the definition, everything about it. And then we'll move into the practical part where we get to do it practically. Now, what are style guide? A style guide is a document that contains design guidelines for each repeatedly used design element, such as visual identity elements like the icons. Now, all these icons I'm going to use, we don't want to use different types of icon. Now, there are some icon that is in form of sketch. There are some icon that's just through line, made with line, no fill color. There are some icons that are made with line and also a fill color. You don't want to use this particular icon. I don't want to use this particular icon. No, you want to be consistent in using one particular icon. So they are repeatedly used design elements like the icon, interface components. Now I heard where she said something about components. Now, all those things about components are something that is going to be reused. For example, your button. For your button is something that, let's say we are designing a mobile application and it's something that you're going to use repeatedly. So your button, you're going to make it in component and then you start using the button, like you start using this particular button steady, and then there are states, and then you have headings. Now, headings means your text. Now, something like now, I believe you all can see my screen. Now, you can tell how this button, this particular body text look like, and you could tell how this look like. So as time goes on, when we continue showing you my slide, then you will see that there is consistency in how my slide look like, starting from the button, the line, the title, and the body. Now, style guide are created before the high fidelity wireframe phase so that you can see what elements you will need. It is part of a design system. Now, design system, let me just take us a little bit back. Now, what is design system? Design system is, let me use hospital for example. A design system is like a hospital. You get, now let's say a particular, okay, let me just use general hospital for example. Now design system is like a general hospital. You know, anywhere you see any government property, let's say government hospital, there's this particular brand or there's this particular look and feel it gives you immediately. Before you even get to know the name, once you see the building, you will know, oh, this thing belongs to so the government. You know, this is actually a public facility. So that's what how design system look like. It is a system being owned by organization, and then style guide is like you go there to pick your tools or what we are going to use. Now let me use Market Square for example. Now if you look at Market Square in all over the states in Nigeria, yeah, you see that they have this particular building, they have this kind of particular look. Now I'm just giving you example based on the design part or based on design examples. Now, even before you get to see the logo or you get to see the signboard of Market Square, immediately you see the building. Let's say from the back, immediately you see the building. You will just tell this is Market Square. Immediately you just say, oh, this is Market Square. And that's how design system look like. Now, then the style guide is like inside this system where you get to say, okay, now let's say design system, all those things that I'm going to use, the button, the icon. Oh, we are using this particular company of collection of icon. Oh, we want our button to be very curvy. You know, I want my all the typography I'm going to use is going to be, for example, inter. You get everything. You get to see all the sizes from the light to the black or extra bold. You get to see the sizes, you get to see the width, you get to see everything concerning the button, so concerning the text. Now straight to the icon collection, straight to all the components, straight to this how you want your card to look like, straight to the particular mobile frame you'll be using. So that's what design system is all about. Why the style guide is just like your shopping bag where you get there to pick the particular stuff that you want to use. So that is what style guide is. But we're not going to focus on design system. We're just going to focus on style guide because it's like a guide for you to create an interface, for you to create your project, be it the mobile, be it the web. Okay. Now, what goes into the style guide? What goes into the style guide? Number one, we have the topography. So topography is all about how your text will look like. What are the sizes and weights that you want to use for this your particular project? Now we have the color palette. Now, what are the colors that you're going to use on this project? So that is what it means. Your primary, your secondary, your tertiary, your state colors, your different shade of gray, starting from the dark color down to white. Now you have the iconography. Iconography means the collection of icon that you want to use. Do you want to use a feed icon, or do you want to use a outline icon? Now we have the layout grid. Now layout grid is just like a guide for you to know how to align your design, be it in any frame that you're using, whether the desktop frame or the mobile frame. It's just like a guide. Oh, I don't want my design to cross this part of the screen or this part of the screen. I want my design to be inside this particular place. I don't want it to cross here and cross here. So as time goes on, I'm going to show you how to create it. Now, the next one is the spacing and sizing. Now, the next one is the feedback and notification. Feedback means how you want your model to look like. Do you want it to be, at the top of your screen? Do you want it to be at the center of your screen? If it's a web, do you want it to be at the bottom right of your screen? So that's what feedback is all about. This next one we have is voice and tone. So how do you tell your UI is going to have the voice and the tone? And the next one we have all the UI
Sorry, ma'am.
content. Yeah.
On the screen is still what is style guide though.
Come again.
I say on the screen, what we are seeing, your screen is still what is style guide. All these things you're moving is not what is showing.
Are you serious? Well, yeah. You can't see on the screen where they said what goes into a style guide.
No, I mean the header. I thought as you were moving, you were saying this and this. Maybe the slide will be changing.
No.
Okay. Sorry.
No, what I'm trying to say is that your screen is still on what our style guide. Like, it has not moved from what our style guide since. And you're talking about some other things, but we're not
Yeah,
seeing
that's
that.
what I'm saying.
Can you see what this is? The next one now is what goes into a style guide.
It's not on the screen.
No, it's not moving. It's still what is style guide.
So let me stop and share again. Can you see it now?
Yes,
Hello?
ma, we can see it.
Yes. You're seeing it now.
I've moved to the next one. Can you still see it now?
No, it didn't move again. It's still on what goes into style guide.
Wow. Okay, so I guess this thing is saying share your entire screen. I've moved to the next screen.
I'm
Can you
not
guys
seeing it.
see?
No.
Wow.
It is still loading. Oh.
Can you guys see it now? What goes into
Yes,
Typography.
the first one is
Typography.
typography.
Typography, yeah.
yes.
Yes. Okay, if I move to the next one, please notify me.
All right.
Now, the first one we talk about, remember I said there are 8 things that goes into the style guide. So the first one is typography. This is actually just meant for font family, font size, the weight, the style that you want to use throughout that particular project that you want to design. Now I'm going to use food, for example. Now I want to create a food called Helen food delivering mobile application. Now I'm trying to, I've done the UX research, I've done all basically the whole UX process. I'm actually in the style guide phase where I want to create my high fidelity phase. And now the first thing the node is going to do is the particular font that I'm going to use. Now, for these 3 screens that I have shown you guys, or let's say the first screen that you've seen, and this is the third screen. Now, you will tell that the body size is actually the same. The font I use here is actually the same. This is just a difference. But as time goes on, you'll see that this is actually consistent in other screens. Now this is actually just consistency, how you want your body text, your headings, your both. Let's just say it's all about the font family, how you want it to look like. Oh, I actually want this size to be for subheadings. I want this one to be for the main headings. I want this one to be for the body. I want this particular one to be for the button text. Oh, my button will have a different text or different font size or different width, font width, different from this one I'm using. For example, now let's say I'm just going to use font size of 18. This is how I want it to look like. So it's just like, oh, how the sizes, the weight, the style, everything concerning this font that I'm going to use in my UI design. Now, this is an example of what it looks like. So ignore those ones, ignore this color. Now, ignore the color, just ignore the color. Now, this is an example of typography, how it should look like. Now, let's say this is actually a typography for a project I did some times ago. But before I continue, can you guys see my screen? The examples.
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the font weight, and this is the font size, this is the line height, and this is the name. Now, this is how it look like for a particular project I did some time ago. Let's just say last year. Now, for the heading one, this is how it's going to look like. For bold, I'm going to use font size of 44. Now, this particular font example, this is meant for a larger screen. Let's say a landing page, let me just say a website, a larger screen. Now, a larger screen, you can use 44. Okay, so maybe you can use bold 44, then the line height is 1.3. So as time goes on, I'm going to show you where the line height, where is the font width, font weight, and the font size, and then the name. So for my heading 2, I'm going to use semi-bold and then 36px, and I just used the same line height. But when I get to my body text, I had to change my line height. Now you can tell this is for semi-bold. What I use for semi-bold 28 pixels, semi-bold 24, semi-bold 20, regular, for large body text, I'm going to use regular 20. For medium body text, I'm going to use 18. For small, I'm just going to use 16. Then for the smallest, I'm going to use 14. So before, I'm just showing you how it look like. But when we start our practical, I'm just going to break it down for you. Then you get to understand this. Now, the next one we have is the color palette. The next one we have is the color palette. Now, what is color palette? A set of colors that define the visual identity of the product. This includes your primary color, secondary color, the neutral color. You have the asset. Asset means the state color aligned with their, hexadecimeters, where you get to see the color code. So I'm just going to use the word the color code. Now, this is an example of how it looks like. Now, here I just indicate only the primary and then the secondary. Now, I have the primary color, I have the color code, I have different shade of this particular primary color. Same thing as for the secondary color. Can you see the example of the color palette?
Yes.
Yes, ma. Yes, ma.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, okay. So the next one that goes into the style guide is the iconography. This is more like the particular icon that this is the icon or the icon collections that you're going to use for your design, the asset, the library. What library of icon? Am I going to use my Tira icon? Am I going to use feather icon? Am I going to use, there are different icon collection. There's icon 8, there's feather icons, there is a huge icon, there's a lot of icons, like there's a lot of icons, a lot, like icon collection, there's a lot of, just like a pack. It's just like a pack of icons when you open a pack. It's just like a pack of sweets when you open. Oh, let's use Splash. Everybody knows Splash sweets. When you buy the packet, everybody have like Splash. Some people like Mikos. Not. I'm just taking us back to those days where we have different packs of sweets. All of them are nice. They are very sweet in the mouth. They are very good. It's not too sugary. It's okay. It's just like a pack where you have different pack, and you just say, oh, I'm going to use this particular one, or I'm going to use this particular one. That's what all icon is all about. So you get to pick it. Oh, I'm going to use this particular size for my icon. Now, this is an example. Now, this is an example of icon. Now, this particular icon here is Font Awesome. Now, there's another icon called Font Awesome. Now, this is Font Awesome outline icon. And I'm going to be using this icon size 24. That's what I'm going to be using. So that's why I dropped it here. Now, you can find Font Awesome from Figma community it's a free icon where you just get to use it free. All you have to do is just go and download the Font Awesome typography so that it will reflect with the icon. The person, the designer actually that made it free, that is the only disadvantage. You have to go and download Font Awesome font. So you have to download the font first before it will reflect in the icon. But there are a lot of free packs of icon. There is a plugin called Iconify. So when you open this Iconify, you get to see a lot of collection of icons. So you get to use, oh, I'm going to use this particular collection of icon and then use it on your design. There are some icon you have to make payment for. There's some icon you have to make payment for before you can even use it. There's which icon, there's icon 8. I think those ones you have to pay certain amount of money every month, or you can make a subscription of 1 year for you to use that particular icon. But at this level where we all are, I would suggest we use free packs of icon. There's a plugin called Icon 8. There's a plugin called Iconify. In Iconify, you get to see different package of icons, and then you're going to say, oh, I'm going to use so size for my icon, depending the size of your screen. Now, Font Awesome icon size of 24 can only go for a mobile frame. But if I'm designing tablet or web view and I want to use icon, and then I'll have to increase it to maybe 38, maybe 38 or 36. Okay. Now the next one that goes into the style guide is the layout grid. Now, layout grid including columns weight, spacing, and alignment. This help maintain consistency and alignment across different screen size and device. Now, like I said, your style guide, I want to design a website, a responsive website for the web view and the mobile view. The font size, the spacing that I will use on my web is not what I'm going to use on my mobile. Okay, whatever I am viewing on my laptop, let's say a site I'm viewing on my laptop, or a site I want only people with laptop can view, and now finally I want to design for people with mobile can use. It is not the font size of what I use on my laptop that goes to the mobile. There you have to bring it smaller. That is why it's always advisable if, for example, you want to design a website, you need to do your style guide starting from the larger number that will suit your web down to the smallest number that will fit in for the mobile. Now, example of that topography I showed you is actually a web topography. It has 44 down to 14. Now, same thing for your layout grid. If I'm using columns of, let me show you the example now. Now, this is for a mobile and this is for a web. Now, the normal web screen size or frame size that we use is 144 times 1024. That is what we use. That is actually the size of my laptop. And I'm using count of 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I'm using count of 12. Now, this is actually the column. This is the column here. This is the margin. The margin is this white space here and this white space here. Now, this blue color is the count, which is the columns. and this space here and this space here is the margin, while this here is the gutter. So the gutter is 24. So when we start the practical, I'm going to show you how to create it. Now this is for the mobile. For the mobile, what I used here is just 6. For the web, what I use is 12. Okay. For the mobile, some persons can use 6, 4. Some person use 6, some person use 4. Sometimes I use 6, sometimes I use 4. When it comes to the count, the columns, that's what I normally use. But I would advise that you use 6 for now. Okay. Now sometimes there are, depending what you want to design, you don't even need to use 6, you have to use 4. But for the web, I will always advise you beginners to always use 12. It's more easier before you can, start skipping to use 10, to use 8, just like that. Okay. Now the next one is spacing and sizes. Now spacing is just like, now let's just say grid system, spacing and sizes, they all work together. They are just like siblings that work together. So if I'm using my layout view, it automatically show me sizes and spacing that I'm going to use. So that means if I'm aligning everything at this part, automatically I have generated a good spacing for the left and for the right. So let's just say layout grid and spacing are just siblings. They are just siblings, twin siblings. Okay, so it shows you how your padding, your margin, the size of the UI components, everything is just going to look like or be true during the interface. Now, another thing for sizing when it comes to button. Now, if you're looking at this my slide from the beginning, you will see that the sizing of my write-up are actually the same way. If you've been looking at my button, you'll see that the button sizes are of the same pattern. This is actually made in components. I just have to start using it all over again. This is a component, something that you have to reuse again. So that is what component means. Now, the size of this UI component, you could tell that the sizes are okay. Now, this is it here. This is what it means. Now, the sizing of how, now this sizing here is just, and let's just assume the size here is 10. So I use 10 for 10, the space here is 10, the space here is 10, and the space at the top and the space here is 4. So this sizing actually, now the spacing work together with the layout grid, while the sizing work with more of the auto layout, the components, more of, I want to design card. Let's just say, for example, the Jumia app that we all normally use, the product where you get to see the product's name, the product amounts, and then you get to see the image. Now on Jumia platform, it's obvious that they are in card. So all those things, you don't want this particular card to have the spacing, and you want this other card to have the spacing. It will show that your design are not really consistent, and it's actually going to look so scattered everywhere. And whosoever a user, once a user gets on that platform, the user is just going to be confused and run away. So that's one thing you need to consider: spacing and sizing. Now, another one we talked about, the sixth one, is the feedback and notification. Now, this is like a guideline providing feedback to users, including the success messages, error messages, notification, your loader. It just ensure consistency in communication with the user. I know we talked about, when we are generating our flowchart, we talked about, oh, I want to sign up. Once I'm done successfully sign up, I get a successful. I put a password that does not match together with the period, I'm automatically going to get an error messages. Now, when it comes to UX design principle, we have feedback where you get to tell your user, oh, this journey that you're encountering, is it successful or is it failed? For UI, you get to tell them by write-up, is it successful or is it failed? Now, you want your feedback to actually look like this. Now, this is a side notification for a larger screen, and this is a pop-up for a mobile. So I'm just going to say it like this because basically this is how most designer actually design. So now we have the side notification, we have the error messages, we have the success message, you have maybe important notification to tell the person, oh, you need to complete your profile, and then you just come out at the top right of your screen. This is how it's going to look like with a color to show you, oh, it's actually an information I'm passing through. It's not a warning, it's not a error, it's not an error, or it's not a successful message. It's just like an information that I just want to pass to you as a user. Oh, you need to do so thing. Oh, okay, complete your profile and then win 1,000 naira, something like that. It's just an information that I'm passing for you. It's either you do it or you don't do it. It's not compulsory. Okay, then you have the error message. Let's say, for example, I'm trying to log in and I created my password with capital letter H, but I'm trying to log in. It's going to throw me an error message saying the password is incorrect. If you include in the US part, if you include to give a hint on how your password should look like, and then you get to add the message just like a hint of your password, and then by the time you put the password and it's correct, and then you have to get this particular success notification. Now this is like a feedback. You're telling your user, you're going to tell your user this action they are trying to perform, is it successful or is it failed? It's like a communication to them. Now, a user that have not used an app for a very period of time, a very long period of time, and the person comes back and the person is trying to, I can't remember my password, but I just want to have to put a password, like guess a password, and I put, automatically the system is supposed to tell me if this action I perform, is it successful or is it failed. It's actually part of a good UX, but UX is not our my own, so we're just focusing on the UI. So you're going to tell them, show them, like in the UI, show them, oh, this action I perform is either successful or is failed. It's a good communication. Trust me, it's a good UX to know this. Oh, okay, yes, it's correct. I pass. Oh, failed. You have to, put the correct password or correct email. Now for this also, this pop-up notification, now you get to show them the feedback. Now another thing that I normally tell user is your write-up in that feedback matters. Your communication, let me use the word write-up. Your write-up in that notifications matters, because you don't want to sound rude. You don't want to sound
I barely hear you.
you don't want to you don't want to sound rude. Yes, you don't want to sound insulting, and you just want to make the person. Can you hear me now? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Yes, I can.
Okay. So notification is now your right to matters. Now let's read this success something, and then this is how the write-up look like. It's plain, is plain, the English is plain, and whoever that read this message is not going to find it rude or offensive. Now, for the error, we have, thank you for your request. We are unable to complete the process. Please try again to complete the request. Now, let's say, for example, now after this person has made a request and the system automatically accepts it, the person is going to get a success message. And then you say, oh, wait, or you find a confirmation in your email, and they said, oh, verify your email, and by the time the person verifies his email, it takes like 5 minutes, and then they will say, oh, sorry, this particular request you are trying to make is unable to process. Let's say you did not complete one particular information that they requested for, and you just submit, it's going to tell you, oh, this particular request is not completed, or continue the process, blah blah blah, and all. Now, if you read this message, you're going to see that the message is actually clear. The information is clear. The feedback is clear. Okay. Then the next one we have is your voice and tone. Now, voice and tone style used in UI text, label, button, and other UI elements. This help maintain brand voice and consistency in communication with the users. Now, this is it. I'm going to use button for example. Now, look at these buttons. The write-up inside is actually clear. It's actually visible. It's clear. Now, I'm going to use my slide too. The voice and the tone. Let's the voice and tone of my slide is clear. It's clear enough. You can read it, you can see it, you can do everything. Now, voice and tone for a button, this is how it look like. Now, anyone looking at this without a write-up, we know this is like asked question. Now, this is how my next look like. This is play, this is refreshed, this is delete, this is download, add to cart, and then we have the continue. Now you can see that the shape, the color, the text, the write-up, everything is actually clear enough. It's going to give you the tone. Not something like let me just use a funny word like add to cart. You get add to cart is clear. Add to cart is like, okay, add it to your cart. You get, oh, I like this particular thing, add it to your cart. Now, this tune here is actually clear. Now, imagine where you have a tune that say, let me use, I'm trying to look for a funny word. A tune that says, let's say we have buy now, we have add to cart, and you just surprisingly see a button that asks you, are you buying now or you want to add to cart? It's kind of a long sentence that is like you're quick. Some people might not receive it in a normal way, but to me, I found it offensive for my user. Like one button, inside one button, I am having, do you want to buy now or you want to add to cart? Like in my head, I might find, I might just, in my head, I might just assume these people are talking to me rudely because why are you asking me to buy now? Or do I want to buy now or I want to add to cart? So is you what you're going to supposed to do there is you're going to have a two button that says buy now or add to cart. Now, me as a user, what I'm just going to do is just to click on the particular button I want to do, like click on a particular action that I want to perform. If I want to add to cart, I'm going to click on add to cart. If I want to buy now, I'm going to click on buy now. That takes me to where I'm going to make my payment. But asking me, do I want to buy now or add to cart in a button, to me, it sounds rude. It sounds very, very rude. So if I'm looking at it, it sounds rude. How will my user see it? How will my user imagine the tune in their head? That's what it means. Okay, that's what voice and tone mean. So your write up in the button matters. Not only button too, your modal where you have a pop-up that says, do you want to log out now or you want to do you want to log out, and you're seeing a button that says yes, I want to log out, maybe yes, and the other one is saying no, cancel, or you have an option of proceed and cancel. You have an option of yes and no. Yes, I want, yes I do, or no, cancel. Your tune in that write up matters a lot because the way you read something, automatically you're going to imagine how the tune will be in your head. I don't know for other people, but that's how um I see things. Like that's how I imagine my own. If I'm reading this thing and it's not clear enough, sometimes I will say, oh, if I am a user, in fact, as a designer, I'm also a user. So if I am a user and I can think how I can imagine how this tool is in my head, what about other users? That's what I normally do. So your voice and tone in a particular element, in a particular UI component matters a lot. Now, the next one we have, which is actually the last one, is the UI component. Oh my God, I didn't change the write-up. I'm so sorry, but I'm just going to explain. Wait, the knowledge I know about UI components. Now, UI component is actually a component, a property that you're going to use all over and over again. For example, your button. For example, your button, your card, maybe I'm just giving you an example, but there are a lot of things that you can use, over and over again. But majority of what people normally use components for are buttons, where you have to have button without any icon, button with primary color, button with secondary color, button with icon in primary color, button in secondary color. So all those things are, components. You have the card, you have your radio button, you have your check button, you have the drop down, you have everything. That this is how it's going to look like. So this is what something that you're going to use all over and over again. Okay, so that is what these are all the things that goes into your style guide. Now let's talk about the importance of style guide. Why is style guide very, very important? Now, consistency. Now, style guide is very, very important for consistency. Now, if you've been following my slide from the beginning to this up to this point, you will see that there is consistency in my slide. Like, it's very, very consistent. It's because I actually created a style guide for this slide. I created a style guide for this slide. That's why I actually use the importance or use my style guide to, I use the property in my style guide to create this slide. It ensures the visual elements such as color, typography, image as used consistently across all touch points, thereby strengthening brand identity and visuality. Now, the next one we have is efficiency. By providing clear guidelines and specification, style guides streamline the design process, reducing the time and effort required to make design decisions. Now, what this means is like it's streamline your design process. Efficient. Oh, okay. This thing I'm going to use, I'm just going to, make it, add it here. This particular thing I'm going to use, I'm just going to add it here. That's what it means. Now, brand identity, it helps you make sure that everything like your color, your font, your image used to show off a brand matches the personality and value. Okay, this particular brand identity, now you want to say, okay, let me just use it. Let me explain in the layman's language. Now, in the layman's language means that I actually liked this particular brand blue color. Is it green color? I actually like this particular green color, this shade of green, and I want to use it to create my slide. And I love this particular font. This is actually a font called Urban List. This is like my favorite font. And I like this particular shade of green, one. I like this particular font too. And I am good at adding illustrations for slide instead of using images. So now you can tell that I have used illustration that match with the title and it actually worked. Okay, then for the font, you'll see that there is consistency in the font size. The color, I actually used this particular color for just the number of the page, the title, and also the button. So that is what it means. It keeps all the brand messages consistent. That's what it means. Now, the next one we have is user experience. Now, one importance of style guide is user experience. Consistent designs create a seamless user experience, enhancing usability and navigation across digital and physical touch points. Now, this color that I'm using, is it visible enough? Is it something that I can see the write-up, I can see the content used in it? Now, for example, my button. Now, I use this particular shade of green and I use white. Now, the write-up inside is actually visible enough. That's what it means. And it also show like it's a navigation. Oh, once I click this particular place, it takes me to the next place. we all know the definition of UX. So importance of style guide reflects the importance of UX. Now, the next one with importance is flexibility. Style guides gives rules to make things look the same, but also let designers to be creative and try new things while still keeping the brand identity. Now, what this actually means is, now this my style, this my slide, this my slide now. Looking at it, now looking at this my slide, you can tell that everything actually look the same. The arrangement, the pattern, everything actually look the same. Like it looked the same. If you don't look at the write-up very well, you can't even tell if I have gone to the next page or not. Maybe you just looked away for a minute and then you turn and you didn't actually notice that I've moved, and you just say, oh, okay. By the time you looked very well, you will not see that, oh, I've actually moved to the next slide. So that is one thing about style guide. It gives room for you to make things look the same. That's one thing about style guide. And it can make you to be more creative when it comes to combining different colors together, or using different states of your primary color. And it should just make you say, okay, what if I use the darker green? Sorry, give me 1 minute. Sorry about that. So that's one thing about flexibility. It gives you room to make things look the same, and also let designers to be creative by trying new things and make sure they are keeping the brand identity in mind. Now, the next one we have is efficiency collaboration, where you get to where you get to work together with the developer. Or you get to tell the developer, this is how the button is going to look like. Oh, these are the types of fonts I actually use. You're just going to make everything clear for the developers to reduce misunderstanding, whereby you're saying, oh, I actually made my button to be this pattern, but why is the developer adding XX curve to this particular button? Why is this button actually, why is my own button smaller and the developer's button is actually bigger? Okay, so that's what efficient collaboration means, where you get to work hand in hand with the developer. Not really hand in hand, you guys are going to be on Figma, but you're just going to create your style guide, and when they're implementing your design, you get to tell them, oh, these are the style guide, these are the design elements I used for this design. So their job is to go and look at it, take the right measurement of everything. Anyone that is not clear, they will draw your attention to it, or you can actually explain or guide them or walk them through your style guide to avoid misunderstanding, to avoid the normal war that have been trending, designers versus developers. Okay, now so this is the last importance of style guide. So we are going to move into the practical parts of the style guide. So I'm going to ask a question to be sure that you guys are following. So what are the things that goes into style guide? So I would love you guys to tell me things that goes into the style guide, and then we'll start creating them now.
Typography.
Okay.
Color palette.
Okay. There are 8.
Iconography.
Yes, 3.
Layout grid.
Yes.
Pacing.
and sizing.
Hmm?
Spacing and sizing.
Okay, yes.
Feedback and notifications.
Feedback notification.
Okay, yes.
Voice and tone.
Yes.
UI components.
Yes.
And what goes into a style guide? UI components.
Color
Yes.
palette.
Yes.
Consistency.
Yeah.
Consistency.
Iconography.
Consistency is the importance.
Yes. Okay. That's true.
Spacing and sizing.
Yes, spacing and sizing. So the first thing we are going to look
And
at
layout grid.
and layout grid. Yes, thank you very much. So the first thing we are going to create is the topography. Can you guys
Spacing
see the
and sizing. Layout
yes,
grid. Iconography.
yes.
Color palette. Typography. Feedback. I didn't know that.
Okay, so can you guys see my Figma Canva file?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So we are going to create, so I'm going to write down. So I'm going to write down the 8 things that goes into the style guide. So I'm going to use my text here. Drop it here. So I'm going to use my let's not use my favorite font. So I'm just going to use another font. Yeah, so I'm going to use plus Jakarta. So I'm going to use let me use 24. So we have the typography. Don't worry, I'm going to teach you guys how to use auto layout. I just want to list them down. So we have color palette. Did I spell this palette well? Okay, 1, 2. So the next one we have is what?
Iconography.
The next one. Layout grid.
Spacing and sizing.
Yeah.
Iconography.
No, it's feedback and notification.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter how you arrange it.
And sizing.
It doesn't matter how you arrange it, as long as
Okay.
you have all of them. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the last one we have this UI. Or the UI components. So I'm going to give this a fake color and then change this to black. Let me give this a quick color first. And then change it to light. So these are what goes into the style guide. So these are what goes into the style guide. This is it. So most things we are going to create here, let's say for the feedback and notification, you're going to have the UI component. So for your voice and tone, maybe how you want your modal. Now, voice and tone, feedback and notification are going to work hand in hand, because as you're creating your feedback and notification, automatically you are putting the content inside. Now, you're creating your color palette. I'm going to use this particular color for my design. We are going to have our primary and secondary color. We are going to um create that. Okay. Then for typography, you're not going to add any UI components. UI components are basically elements that you're going to use all over and all over again. For example, your model, you want your model that has not mother, like mother is mother, modal. So that's what I mean, not your mother. So if in case I pronounce mother, please just draw my attention back to it. Sorry, I'm an Igbo girl, so sometimes it affects my tongue. So that's what it means. So when you're creating your feedback and notification, automatically you have the voice and tone where you're going to say, oh, I want my sign up to have this particular um, write up, and then automatically is created in components, something you're going to use all over and all over again. For example, I am designing for a food app, and I want my notification to have this particular um, shape, this particular size, this particular spacing. Automatically it is created in UI component. So it is not compulsory that you must, all your style guide must be 8. No. So I'm just giving you that, oh, this is what goes into your style guide, but some are working together. Some are just two in one. Like I said, your layout grid and spacing are siblings. When you create your layout grid, automatically you have your spacing in it. Automatically you have the sizings in it. Then there are some places you need to indicate the sizes. Now, this is one sweet thing that auto layout has done for us. If you watch, you will see that I actually use auto layout to create this. Now, if I want to check the space, now remember I use auto layout to um draft the when I started. If you notice, here was 10 and here was 10. But when if you look at what I did, if you pay attention to what I did, you will see that I actually just came here to adjust the settings myself, because I wanted to have this particular size. Okay, I wanted to have this particular space. Now, size is when it comes to the font. When I was typing the first one, so you saw when I was saying, oh, let's make it to 24. Let me use particular one. And you can tell that I have actually automatically generate a particular size that I want the list of all these things to goes on the UI to be. I want all of them to be 24. And if you check, you see that all of them is actually 24. So I'm clicking on all of them one by one. You can tell that each of them is in 24. Now for the spacing, now if you watch the second time I was trying to adjust it, you see that this was 10 10, and automatically I adjust them to be the space between here. So if I want to check this space, I'm just going to use the Alt keyboard key, and you see that the spacing between each of them, yeah, now for this place is 30. So let me click on this layout grid and then make it. You see that the space between this guy is 20 and the space between this one is 20. So if I click on voice and tune and I check between each of them, you see that the space between them is 20. I mean the top and here, while this place is saying the space this side is 42. Now if I check here, check on this, you can see that it's showing me the space. and then if I check here, it's showing me 30. Now that's how spacing, sizing, let's say spacing and layout grid work together, topography and sizes work together. When you're generating your UI components and sizing works together. When you're creating those your feedback, automatically they are in UI components and then they are in sizing. When you're creating your button, automatically you're giving them spacing and sizing. You can see that most things are actually work hand in hand, but these are the 8 important things that needs to be in your style guide. If not, you're not going to meet any importance of the style guide. Like, there's not going to be consistency, there's not going to be design identity, everything is just going to be looking off, and that will lead to fights, war between you and the developers. Okay, that's why it's very very important. Like I am a mentor, I have some people I've been guiding in UI UX. I gave them a project to work together with the developers and other team members. When the product managers were like, oh, designers, don't worry, let's carry out the research for you guys. Don't worry, let's do the user personas. Oh, don't worry, let's work on the the more of the UX part, more of understanding the users, more of carrying user research, more of user goals, user pain points. What does your user want? What did they think? What did they feel? Empathy map. So at a point when the product manager, I joined their meeting, and product manager was like, "Oh, don't worry, let's carry out this part since it's actually blend with what we do. So don't worry, you guys should go ahead and create your user journey map." And the designers came back to me and was like asking, oh, ma, the product manager said they're going to do this and this and this. Oh, here is our, here is our wire framing. So when they showed me the wire framing, the first thing I asked them was, where is your flow chart? Because I understand that this is the project that you want to work on. When you list what the product managers are actually going to do for you, you did not list they are going to work on the user journey map or the flow charts, and you are showing me your wireframing. Immediately I asked them, where is the flow chart? And they were like, is it necessary to do the flow chart? And I have to throw back the question back to this. So it's not necessary for you to understand the journey. It's not necessary for you to understand the flow of how the user is actually navigate through this product, like their journey. You don't want to know their journey when they use this particular project. And at a point, one of the designer was like, it's too old, they need to go back. And on my free time, when I opened the wireframe, they called it wireframe, but when I opened the wireframe, I was shocked because what they were giving me, or what they were calling wireframe, was the high fidelity. It's a mixture of the low fidelity and the high fidelity. I was confused. That was when I asked them, where did you learn? Who taught you? And most of them were like, oh, we are self-learner. I had to say, oh, you're making a terrible mistakes. These ones are something that comes last. You have the flow charts, you have the flow chart, you have the user journey map, you have the flow chart, you have the low fidelity. This is like the skeleton, or this is where you need to be creative to create idea. Oh, this particular flow chart I have done, I'm going to break it down into screens. If I have understood the journey, or if I am okay with how I want my user to navigate this product, and then I have to start breaking those flow charts into screens, trying to be creative, looking at other designs similar to your project, and then you craft out that one. So once you're done, you now move to style guide. Then for the style guide, those things you've done for your style guide, you're going to automatically use them in your high fidelity. High fidelity and prototype work hand in hand. They're just like senior brother and junior brother. They work hand in hand. Things that need to be added more on the high field. When you're doing your prototype, you're going to notice that. That's one thing about this UI UX thing. It's very interesting. It's very very wide. You get to learn more things. You get to understand things. Okay, so back to what we are saying. So we're going to create this, and you can see that some of them are already together, just like two in one, where you have two in one brush. So that is how it's going to look like. So first thing first is we're going to create the topography. So yeah, I'm using plus Jakarta Sans is a font, is a nice font. It has from the font weight, it has from extra light down to extra bold. Now you can see that if I'm moving my cursor here, automatically it is changing here. So I'm using regular here. Now it has italics from extra light down to extra bold, and it has variable form. So we're not going to talk about this. So you can adjust it the way you want it. We're not going to talk about this. We're just going to leave this side. When we are moving to the next advanced level, we are going to talk about this. But at your levels, beginners level, we're just going to talk about things that are very, at least know the foundation first before you move to the next step. So we're going to create a style guide for we're going to create a style guide for a project. So I'm going to design a landing page, a website landing page, anything at all, anything that maybe when we start designing, I'll just tell you guys, oh, what do you think we should design? So I'm not going to say, let me design what I want. I'm just going to say, should we design real estate, landing page or food landing page or whatever landing page? So you guys are going to make a decision for that, and then we'll design it. Or if you see something that you like and you want me to recreate, there's also room for that. Okay, so let's create a style guide for a website landing page. So we want to design a website landing page, and let's create a style guide for it. So first thing first, I'm going to do is I'm going to create I'm going to use frame. Now this is what I normally do that is easier for me. So I come here, I create a frame. I don't pick frame because this is more like a style guide. I don't pick frame here. I just generate a random size of frame. But if you want to, please, you are free to use. Okay. But if you don't want to, then you can do how you want to use it. Now, this is how I want this to look like. So I'm just going to, duplicate this. I'm just going to click on it and then duplicate, Control D, or you use your Alt and then drag it here. So I'm just going to increase the weight font and the size. So I'm just going to increase from regular to semi bold, and then I'm going to use 44. So once I use 44, automatically I'm going to make it auto layout. So to make auto layout is either you use your Shift A or you right click and then add. So it's showing me remove auto layout. So let me remove it and then do the local way. So this is it, add auto layout. So either you use Shift A or you use you come to your right click, you do it here. But if you also want to learn how to use short keys or keyboard short key, you can actually come to this place. They have help and resources. You click on it and you search for it. Keyboard, where is it again? So keyboard shortcut. So you just come here and then you see it here. So you can just come here to learn tools. I believe you guys have worked around Figma, so that some things might not be sounding strange for you. So you guys have worked around Figma, like know your way around Figma, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. So that when I'm saying something to not look strange to you, but I'm still going to say it. I'm still going to teach you like someone I'm just, someone that is just getting to know Figma. Okay, because they are different knowledge. Okay, so this is how I normally create my style guide. So every frame has its own. So I'm just going to add a fill color. So first thing first, I'm going to change this black to white. So I'm more of a short keyboard person. So in case I do something that automatically change without any pop-up or anything, please just draw my attention to this so that I can do that in the other way so that you will understand. Okay, so I'm just going to I want to if I give this a fill color, automatically it's going to turn to white, and when I'm trying to change this to white, I'm going to lost the color. So what I normally do is I first change the font to white before adding a fill color. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to move this to this place and change this to fill color like this, and then I open here. So I'm just going to, let's just use red, or I'm just going to use red. So until we get the the color, the website. So what do you guys think I should design? Should I just design a landing page from of my choice, or do you guys want to suggest a particular project landing page that I will design so that our style guide is actually going to rhyme with what I'm going to design?
Ma, I didn't get the question.
Any of
Okay,
your choice, ma. Any of your choice, ma.
Ma, your choice, ma.
okay.
Just put us.
What if I want to design a Web3? So what if I want to design a crypto website? So I should
But I
Go
feel
ahead.
a website should be cool.
You can develop as long as you show us how you are doing it.
okay, talk. Let me mute now.
Ma, I said you can go ahead as long as we can see what you're doing and we are flowing with what you're doing. We would like to learn it.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so before we continue, okay, let's just create a style guide. I'm just going to look for a random landing page I have worked on before. Okay, let me go and take some of the landing page I've done previously so that we can replicate that.
Ma, I cannot see your screen now.
My screen is blank now.
Okay.
It's blank. I'm trying to load something. So I'm trying to load a particular Figma file where we just get to pick one landing page and replicate. So for now, we're just going to use a dummy color of black for our, okay, let's just use red. So automatically we will change by the time we pick one landing page from some of my recent designs. Okay, so
Are we still on? I'm not hearing you.
Same here.
What do you want to hear?
That means our network is having issues then.
Yes, probably.
Okay.
Um, uh,
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry, I got disconnected.
Yeah, we hear you.
Welcome to Nigeria. Can you guys see my screen now?
No.
Everybody is stuck.
Is it still? No. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yes, you
Yes,
can
we
see it
see
now.
it. Yeah.
So I'm trying to create a title here for this. So I'll just come here and then automatically make it. Okay, so I'm just going to, I don't want this to be at the center. So I don't want it to be at the center. So I'm just going to take it this way. So I'll just come to my auto layout here. Then I'll click here, align to the left. So once I align to
Sorry,
the
ma.
left, it's
We
too
cannot see your
close.
screen now.
So
It's showing now.
one
I can see it.
I can see it.
Why is one a short video?
can you see it? Can you see it?
Yes.
Can you see my screen? Please, you need to mute
Yes.
Yes, yes, we can see your screen. And we are
if
seeing
you
that
are
Larry's
typing something. Then thank you. Please then mute. I can't hear anybody, and I don't know if you guys can hear me.
I can hear you,
I
ma.
can hear you.
I hear you.
Yeah,
Hear
we
you.
hear you. We hear you.
Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to move this place. Now the font type I'm going to use for my design is this font called Plus Jakarta San. So I'm just going to create my font. So this is a replica of this. So just going to so I'm just going to bring this image here to just sound like a guide since we're replicating what is here.
But can I ask a question,
I'm
please?
just going to I can't hear you.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, sir, why did you pick this plus Jakarta? Is it I just like it or there's a reason why you picked it?
I just like the font.
Okay, thank you.
There are a lot. Remember, there are a lot. Please, if I don't know who is typing, who is chatting, just I don't know if it's please just mute. Like I'm using an AirPod, so your background noise is affecting my head. Like, please, I'm not using my laptop speaker. I'm using an AirPod, so it's affecting my head. Please. So once you're not saying anything, just mute, please. So please mute. Isha, yes, please. So now there are a lot of fonts on Figma. See, there are, I don't know, I can't give a particular number, but there's a lot, 1,000 plus fonts on Figma. If you see some are new. If you're scrolling, you see that some are new. So some are recently added on Figma. Some are recently added on Figma. So it's just choice. And there are some fonts that you can't use in your design because it's actually going to look scary. For example, this click something. Now, this is how it looks like. Let's say the information you want to pass on your design. Your user might not even know what is going on. So to read the website is just going to be a problem, and they might just end up, closing that tab. If it's a landing page, it's a website, they'll just end up closing the tab. But if it's a mobile application, they just end up and say, waste of data. They will delete the more. So your font determines the look and feel, gives consistency. It just as part of it's not like a UX. It's part of the importance of UX design principles. It's important where you get to say your fonts determine how your user is actually going to see. And it's like it's a lot. Both your tone, everything, your look and feel. So your point choice will determine how your UI will look like. So I'm just going to go back to my plus Jakarta. Jakarta, yeah. So this is what I'm going to use. So like I said, I'm replicating the example I showed us in class. So I'm just going to paste it somewhere here. I've already copied it, so I'm just going to paste it. So I'm just going to paste it. So this is the whole of this example. I want to recreate the whole of this. So first thing first, I want to create something like this. So I'm just going to write capital letter A and small letter A. So I'm just going to make it like 200. I just want it to be very big. So it's going to be 200. Okay, 200 is too much. Let's make it 170. So I'm going to make it bold. Yeah. So I'm going to make it bold. I'm going to use the thread. So I'm going to duplicate it, and then I'll shift it a little bit. So once I shift it, it automatically looks so big. So I'm just going to take out the free color and replace it with stroke. So if I replace it with stroke, I'm going to zoom in and then move this stroke on at the back. So I'll just come to this place. So I'll just drag the free color on and take it off. Now I've taken it up. So this one I'm just going to add stroke. I want to add dash. So I just want to add line. You can leave it like this, the choice is yours. You can add line, whatever way you want to do it, the choice is yours. For now, we don't have a certain color. I'm just using red and all different shades of red. So I'm just going to leave it this way, and then I'll change this black to be red. But before that, I'm going to click on this setting here, stroke settings. So I'm going to drag this to the top so that you can all see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to come to this stroke style, and then I'll use dash. So once I use dash, automatically it shows me the dot something. So you can the settings is actually going to change. So here I'm going to make it from 2 to 10. So let's make it 10. Like 10 means the dash, the space in between them. 10. Like each line is 10. So 2 is actually looking like dots, and this is okay. So I think I'm okay. I'm good with this. This is perfect. And then I'm going to increase this stroke to 2 because I want it visible enough. So I'm just okay. Let's make it 3. Now you can see 3 is too much, so I'm just going to make it 2. So once I make it 2, and then I'm going to take this fill color. So I'm just going to use this fill color. So I'm just using red because there is no certain color that we're going to use. So once I see the landing page, let's see if the file has opened. So once I see the particular landing page I want to recreate, automatically I'm going to change the color. So let's see if the file has opened. It's still loading. The file is very heavy, so it takes time to load, but we hope it loads. Okay, it has loaded. So I'm just going to pick one of my, design from this file. So it's loading. The file is very heavy, so it's loading. So I'm just going to pick one design from any of these, and then we're going to pick the color and then recreate. Now you can see kind of the text, but it's still loading. So we have to go back to our design and wait for it to load. So it's heavy and including the bad Nigerian network problem. Okay, so we are done with this. So I'm just going to highlight them. So I'm just going to highlight and then I'll put them in frame selection. So I'm going to make them frame selection. So once I make frame selection, automatically I'm just going to keep it here. You can choose to change the right up to the AA or alphabet or whatever you want to give it. So the next one I'm going to create is, now I have shown the developer or my teammate how the fonts look like, how font letter A look like. Okay, this is how it look like. Now I'm going to just add the font name and all the types of weight that I use on this particular font. So what I'm going to do is I'm doing more of duplicating. So in case you don't understand what I do or what I do, please draw my attention to it. Okay. So I'm going to duplicate this and bring it here. So I'm going to make it in components. Okay, let's change the color first to black. So let's change the color to black, and so I'm going to change the name to the font I'm using. So this is the font I'm using. So I'm going to reduce it to 32. So once I reduce to 32, just going to duplicate. So I'll be using regular. I'm going to duplicate. I'll be using medium. I'll be using semi-bold. And also be using bold. I'm just going to highlight the width and then I will reduce it to 20.
Sorry, the width.
I can't hear you.
Okay, I think yeah, I'm okay. I wanted to ask how you did this with yourself.
Okay. So I just, if you look at all of them, you see that all of them is actually carrying one weight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace it to each of the weight. Bold should be bold, semi-bold should be bold, semi-bold should be bold, semi-bold should be semi-bold, medium should be medium. So I'm just going to switch all of them to, then regular is going to be the last. So it's just like you are telling, it's nothing serious, but it's just like you're passing a right effective communication to your developer, not even only to your developer, but to your product manager, to your project manager, in fact, to whoever that is coming to supervise your work, or whoever that is implementing your work, whoever that is your boss. Like you're just giving the right communication to whoever that is going to visit your file. So you get to tell the person, I use this kinds of weights for my design. And also you are actually telling it's actually good communication for you when you get to say, okay, I'm going to use regular, medium, semi-bold, and bold. Remember, I said you are creating a website in a responsive way, the web and the mobile, and you're going to need regular for it. You're going to need medium. You're going to need semi-bold. You're going to need bold. Okay. And one sweet thing about style guide is it is not compulsory that when you are done with your style guide, you are not going to touch it. You're not going to adjust it. Mm-mm. There are some times where, or I have found myself in several situations where I have created style guide and I didn't use, and the particular font, let me use Poppins for example. Poppins is one kind of font I normally tell students it's actually a chubby font, But I normally tell my students if I just want to crack them up, I'll tell them this font look like fonts that have fonts that don't chop benefit. It's like a chubby font that if I am using plus Jakarta and um, Wisdom is using Poppins and Wisdom wants to replicate my exact design, where I use semi-bold and where I use semi-bold to create, a very bold title, and Wisdom use bold with Poppins, it's actually going to look like, see, if Wisdom is using bold for my own. Like it's actually like, let's say you want to replicate the exact thing your tutor did, and I'm using this particular font, and you don't want to use particular font, you want to use Poppins, and you're using Poppins, but your font weight is the same thing. By the time you are done, and you're going to look at your design and look at this one, you see that your own font is actually looking thick than what your tutor do. You get? So that is one thing about using different kinds of fonts. So using different kind of fonts, you just need to say, oh, this font is actually bold. It's like it's a chubby font. I normally call it chubby font. So if I am going to replicate what this person did, if let me use Wisdom for example. If Wisdom is actually going to replicate the exact thing I'm going to do here, but he choose to use copies. So where I use medium for my design, so the only thing is that Wisdom is actually going to step down in its own font. So if I use medium, like where I use regular, Wisdom is going to use light. Where I use medium, Wisdom is going to use regular. Where I use semi-bold, Wisdom is going to use medium. Where I use bold, Wisdom is going to use semi-bold. Now the reason is because when you open list of fonts, you see that they have, if as you're selecting, automatically it is changing, showing you the size of the font. It will not show you the size. It will not show you it will show you just the text size. It will not show you the width. It will only show you the style, how this particular font is going to look like in your design. So Pomplate is like a font. You know how we have different shape of human being. You have size 8 to 12. We can actually wear our clothes together. You get, but where you have the plus size, the size 18, size 16, size 24. I'm just talking of the woman. I'm talking of woman being the lady size. You get, you see that if I try to, now let's say if size plus size is actually using 6 years to sew a normal gown, you can tell that I'm going to use 3 years or 4 years to sew a normal gown, and the gown I'm going to even use the remaining material to tie a scarf. So that is what it applies for font. So the kind of font you use will determine if you're going to clamp forward, if you are replicating somebody's design, or you're going to step down. Now I'm using Poppins font and plus Jakarta. So if Wisdom, I'm going to say it again so you understand. If Wisdom actually wants to replicate, now I'm going to use myself as a Wisdom. Now, if I, as a Wisdom, I want to replicate, okay, let me just switch it. If Wisdom is the tutor and I want to replicate what Wisdom has done, so Wisdom actually use maybe urban list. I'm just talking of this slim fonts that look like this one I'm using. And I want to use a fat font. For example, fat fonts are like Pompins and Montserrat. They actually look chubby. I'm just giving you the local explanation so you understand. So if I want to create this particular thing or design that Wisdom has done, and I'm using fonts like Pumpkins or Monstera, I'm actually not going to use the same width of the font that Wisdom used. I'm going to step down. I'm going to step down. Like if where Wisdom use regular, I'm going to step down to light. Where Wisdom use medium, I'm going to step down to regular. Where Wisdom use semi-bold, I'm going to step down to medium. So that's what it is. There are some fonts that are actually going to look slimmer than this one. So where Wisdom actually use regular, I'm going to step up to use medium so that it will blend very, very well. But if you choose to use the Ezan font, then you're going to use the Ezan font width that design is carrying. But if you're not using, if you're using a different font, it's either you step up or you step down. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
Okay. So I'm just telling you because not all fonts, are going to look the same. Now, there are some fonts that will not provide semi-bold. To just show you regular, medium, or bold. There are some fonts you will use that will just provide regular, medium, or semi-bold. There are some fonts that will provide from thin, extra light, regular, medium, semi-bold, bold, and black. Pump is number 1. Inter number 2. It will bring it from thin, extra light, regular, medium, semi-bold, bold, black. Okay, black is like, black means much bolder, like it's going to be very, very bold. Okay, so that's how some fonts look like. So that is one thing about fonts. So if you check this one ends with semi extra bold. Now there are some fonts that will show you extra bold and still show you black. Okay, so now this is what it's going to look like. So I'm just going to highlight everything and then I'll make it auto layout. So once I make it auto layout, I'll just come here to place it at the center. So I'm just going to come here. So immediately I place it at the center, I notice something scattered. So I'm just going to come here and place it 23. So I'm going to teach you how to create auto layouts. So this is just like the basics of it. So I'm just going to come here. So like I said, we are just using red as our, dummy color for now. Okay, so now we're going to create this. So like I said, I'm more of duplicate, drag and drop, like drag to this place instead of starting all over again to create a new one. So I'm just going to switch this to black. Okay, I can switch to red if I want to. So here we have, like I said, we are going to replicate this one. So here we have the name, font weight, font size, and line height. So first thing is the name. So I'll change this to black. And I'm going to just align this guys very well. So I'm just going to come here to, tidy up. So just come to this place and then tidy up. Since I've already tidy up, so it automatically is not clickable. So once I'm done with that, I'm just going to, draw a line. So I'm just going to use my pencil. Just draw a line. Okay, let's use pen. I'm just going to reduce the shade of color. Remember, like I said, we don't have any color for now, so we're just using a dummy color. So once this has loaded, you're just going to copy one and automatically change the color to what you want. So the first one I'm going to create is going to be the heading, and it's going to be bold, and it's going to be 44. And then I'm going to show you this line height times font size. So let me duplicate this here. So I'm going to bring this here. So this is going to be heading. So my heading is going to be 44. Automatically, I'm going to change it here to be 44, and I'm going to use bold here. So I'm going to change it to heading. So if you want to have two headings, depending the design you are doing, so you can just put it this way, and then you come here font weight. So like I said, you are replicating this. So here you're just going to, you can just reduce this one, but you can choose to add this. You can choose to make it that way, and you can choose to make it this other way. But when you start duplicating to, add in your design, it's just going to be this one. So you're going to duplicate. So you can choose to say, okay, font weight is 44. So what I have here is 44. So I can push it 44 here, and here is going to be sorry, this is going to be font size, and this is going to be bold. So if you want to do with this pattern to the end, it's your choice. If you don't want to, no problem. So to me, I think I will have to only work with this and then reduce this one, because this is actually looking too much here. So I'm just going to work with only this one. And this one, I can just put to wherever I want to put. But I'll make sure that they are in bold. Okay. So this is going to be here. So now for the line height, now for my line height, now let's come here. For my line height here now, this is let me scroll up. This is line height. This is line height. This is the line height. Now the line height here is showing automatic us. So the us is 40. So I don't want to use 40. So if you want to use the 40, no problem. If you don't want to, you want to use whatever you want to use, no problem. But for me, I think I'm okay with what Figma is giving me. So I'm going to use line height of 40. Now, if peradventure you are now designing the landing page and you adjust, where you're writing your bold text, welcome to Helen Chiwike Food Mobile landing page, or estate management system, and those big write up you normally see, and you don't like the line height that Figma automatically gives to you, you can just come here to change it. Now you can come here to change it. While you're coming here to change it, you can also come to the local size here to change it. So I'm going to teach you how to create local size. Like I'm going to teach you the whole of style guide, and you see how big, how wide it is. Okay. So I'm just going to use what Figma gives me. But if I want to change it, then I'll have to, change it once I start doing my design. That is one thing about style guide. It is not compulsory that whatever you do, that is what you're going to do. You're going to use. If it's not fine, if it's not okay, if it's not giving you user experience when it comes to the write-up, you can go back to your style guide and you can make adjustments. Okay. So I'm going to use 40 here. So I'm trying to put you guys to track. So I'm just going to use 40 times font size. So like I said, I'm going to reduce this guy to be small. So the only thing I'm working with is this guy. So just going to, if I don't want to make it too bold, so I just want to, work with only the names here. So I'm just going to reduce this to 20. So I'm just going to hold them and align them very well. So come here and align them very well.
Sorry,
And then
ma.
I'll,
Hello,
yes,
ma.
sir. Yes,
This
sir.
the tidy up you did that you were able to split the equally the space of this font weight and size. Where did you do it from? I think it's because of the tidy up that's making all of these things just work like that,
I
Abby.
can't hear you. I can't hear you clearly.
I said the tidy up you did that you were able to evenly split this space between this font weight and font size. It's the reason why the rest of these things are just the other one, the one under. Is the reason why it's just going automatically, Abby.
No, nothing work automatically. Are you using earpiece?
No, no, no.
It's like when somebody's your whole covering your mouth when talking. So I'm trying to pick what you are saying.
Okay, are you hearing me now?
I can hear
I
you
mean,
now.
okay, I said when you did this first, when you go this first stuffs, you did something like tidy up. I don't know where you clicked, where you brought it out from the style guide.
Yeah,
Is
from here.
yeah,
From
is
here.
that okay? Okay, from that side, from those 3 pointers.
Mm.
Okay, that's the reason why this is your second segment. That's why reason why you can move from the bold to the 44px edit, and then it will still be on the same line and without. Did you get what I'm saying?
I don't know if somebody actually understands his question. Somebody can break it down in another language for me, please. Like another way. I
Oh,
didn't understand what you're saying concerning the
okay,
second one.
okay, it's all good though. I've gotten to where you got the tidy from. Thank you.
Eh, okay. So I'm just going to place this to be aligned to the left. So the next one I'm going to use, so I'm just going to, duplicate it. So this is going to be heading 2. So this is going to be semi-bold. So I'm just going to hold this and change it to semi-bold. So this is going to be, like I said, we are replicating this one. So this is going to be 36 semi-bold. So I'm just going to duplicate this again. So if you choose to add it in auto layer, fine. If you just want to leave it like this, fine. So I think not to stress ourselves, I will have to leave it this way. So the next one, so I'm going to change this guys to semi-bold. Try to just look how the font weight look like. So I'm just going to hold it and then duplicate it. So the next one is going to be 3 and it's semi-bold 26, 28. So this is going to be 28, 28. This is going to be semi-bold and this is going to be 3. So I'm going to change this to 20, 28 and this is going to be 36. So I'm going to arrange this back. I didn't change this one, so I'm just going to come here to arrange it very well. And then I'll take the spacing between them 32. So I'm going to hold this, and this, and then arrange it. So I'm just going to make it 32. So the next one is 4. So the next one we have 24 semi-bold. So heading 4 is going to be so this is going to be 24. So this is going to be semi-bold. So this is going to be 24. So the next one is 5. So we have semi-bold 20. So before I continue, let's arrange this one. So I believe you guys know how to use the positioning. Hello?
Yes,
Hello? Okay, okay. So I'm going to drag this to come down a little bit. So I'm just going to highlight the first one and then drag. Please, it's raining heavily here. So in case you're not hearing me, please draw my attention to that. So I have 5, I have 20 bold, and I have 20. So I'm going to change this to 1, 20. So the next one I have is large body text, medium body text, and normal body text. So this is guys 2018, 16, and all are irregular. So, but yeah, I'm going to, add to play around with medium. So I'm just going to add medium. So this semi bold here, I'm going to change it to medium. So I'm just going to change this to medium. So I'm going to change it here to medium. So I want to use medium for my own. So I don't want to use just regular and semi bold. So I want to use medium. So I'm going to put this and then arrange it very well. I'm just going to bring this here. So here I'm going to change it to regular, and I'm going to change it to regular. So this is okay for 20. So the next one I'm going to do. So I'm going to change it to body text large. So this is like body text large. For where I want to use large body text, you're going to change it. So I'm going to arrange all these, and then we're going to use to create the design. So this is going to be normal body text, normal. So I'm going to change it to 18. So I'm going to move it to regular. So I'm going to change it to regular too. So anytime I change this font size, so I make sure that I also change it so that to match together. So this is regular and this is going to be 18. So this is my main focus, 18. Yeah. I'm going to hold this guys and then drag it. So this is going to be body text more. So this is going to be regular and this is going to be 16. So the last one. Now I think I like the default size for I like the default size for this line height, but as time goes on, if I don't like it, I can automatically change it once I'm doing my design. So I'm going to create the last one, which is going to be body text tiny. So this is going to be body text tiny. So I think I didn't change this one. It's still showing 18 instead of 16. The last one is going to be body text tiny, which is going to be 14. Regular, and this is going to be 14. So you can choose to leave your own like this. You can choose as this is going tiny. You can actually deflect that here, here, and here. So the choice is yours. So anyhow you want to do it, fine. So if you want to do this ones to be, semi bold, just anyhow you want to do it is okay. But you just need to make sure that this is actually the ones that shows what the, that shows the font size and the font weight. Okay. If you choose to leave this one this way, no problem. So I'm just going to change these ones to just match with the font weight, but I can just leave the font size. But if you choose to make all of them the same way, no problem. So this is what I mean. So if you want to make it to be the same size like this, no problem. But this is my main focus here. This is like, to me, this is my main focus. This, I don't want this thing to be too tiny. I want it to be visible enough, and also this to be visible enough. But this is my main focus. So what I'm just going to do here is, once I'm done, so I'm just going to create them as my local site. Instead of coming to my site guide to drag and go to the design, instead of coming to my site guide to drag and go to my design to make necessary adjustments, I will just have to, sorry. So I will just have to, come to my local site and just pick the font I want to pick. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So now let's create local site. So I'm just going to create local site for all this my fonts. So the first one is going to be this. So I'll make sure that before you create a local site, make sure that these names here are actually carrying this font weight and font size before you can create your local site. So this is what I want. So I'm just going to show you how to create this. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have 9 fonts. So I'm going to create 9 local sites. So I'm going to click here, click this plus. So let me scroll up so that you see. So I'm going to click on this heading 1. So I'm going to scroll up. So I'm going to click on this dot here that shows apply size. So once I click on it, there's no style. It's showing that no style has been created. So I'm going to click on this plus here, click style. So once I click, this is how it's going to come out. And then I'll say it's heading 1, heading 1. So you can choose to write the description. You can choose to leave it. So there's no need for me adding description. So I'm just going to create style. So once I create style, you see that this has automatically changed. And once I click out, you see that it has changed. And it's showing me that my line height, I'm using the Sigma default line height, and my font weight and font size is 44. Okay. So the next one I'm going to do is going to be heading 2. So I'm just going to follow that same format. Now, before you create, make sure that this is actually showing me my font weight and font size. So I'm just going to click here and then go the same way. So this is going to be heading 2. I'll click on enter. So I'm going to do that next one. So this is 28 semi-bold. Yeah. So this is going to be heading. Okay. So the next one is showing me semi-bold 24. Semi-bold 24. So just going to do it very fast now because of time. Semi-bold, sorry, medium and 20. Yeah, correct. So this is like large body, regular 20. Yeah. So I'm just going to use body text large. So the next one is going to be body text from a regular 15. I don't know. If please everybody check your mic. Somebody is not muted, please. Yes, Sue, please. Yes, Sue Bishop, please mute your mic. And Abdul Gaffer, please mute your mic. Your mic. Yes. So the last one is going to be body text signing. So I'm going to just click that like this. Body text signing. So now if I click out, you see that automatically all my local size are being created. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, put all of them inside a folder instead of scattering it like this. So just what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this plus sign here for text. Click on it. So okay, sorry. So I'm going to right click like this. So once it's showing me add new folder, I can edit, I can delete. So I'm just going to put them in a folder. So once I put a folder, I'm just going to call it text or typography, whatever you want to give it. So the choice is yours. So once I put it, you can see that if I bring this folder like this, it's inside the folder. So I'm just going to drag number 2 to be under. So just keep dragging like that to be, arranged. So I have number 4, I have number 5, I have the next one, 20, 18, follow just like that to be in order. Just like this. So once I close the folder, this is how it look like. I open, this is how it look like. So I'm done with this. I will just come here. So if you want to start arranging it one, the choice is yours. If you want to leave this way, the choice is yours. If you just want to put all of them inside a frame, the choice is yours. So I'm just going to put everything inside a frame. So I'm just going to do frame selection. So once I'm done with frame selection, I'm done with anything concerning the typography. So I'm just going to adjust this way, and then I'm going to duplicate. So once I duplicate, I'm just going to take this out, and I will take this out. So I'm going to delete this folder. So I'm going to delete this. So like I said, I was using this slide to, give you guide as a guide, but since I'm not using it, so I'm just going to delete it. So the next one we are going to do is going to be the color palette. Sorry, where do you guys go out for 30 minutes break? So now this is the color. Like I said, we don't have any particular color in mind. We are just using a default color for red. So what we are going to do now, there is this particular plugin that will give you different shades of your primary color. For example, now we are using just red, black, white. That's what we are using, and the state or accent color, error, success, and warning information. So that's the asset of state colors. Error, information, error is red, information is blue, warning is yellow, success is green. So our default color here is just shade of red, but we are going to change it like I said. Now there's this particular plugin that I so much love. Instead of it will just help you break down the shade for your color. Now we are using this particular red color, so I'm going to pick this color and I'm going to drop it here. So once I drop it here, I'm going to use this color. So this is what we have here. So I'm going to, I want to have different shades of this particular red. I want to have the lighter one, the light, the darker, just different steps of my red color. This is like my primary color. I'm just going to duplicate this and bring it inside here. So duplicate and bring it in. Later will reduce it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come to this place that says action. So once I click on it, I'm going to have this. So I'm just going to click on this plugins here, and then I'll look for tint and shade. So once you click for tint and shade, this is how it looks like. So you just click on this dot here. It says use details. So you just click. Okay, now my own, I already have it as a plugin. But if you don't have it as a plugin, it will tell you to save. But me it's telling me to remove because I already saved it. So I already have it. Your own is to show you save. My own is showing me remove because I've already saved it. So I'm just going to click here. So once I click, it's showing me create from selected rectangle. So I think I need this one outside. I don't need the one inside, I need the one outside. So I'm just going to repeat that. Now it has generated different shades of this red, starting from the light down to the darker. This is the main color. That's why it's showing you the. So here it's showing you the light, and here it's showing you the darker part. So automatically we will have our five, five shade of this particular red, and then we have our, darker shade. So what we are going to do here, we're going to come here, and it's giving us the color code. So you don't even need to stress yourself too much. So what you do here is you just come to this place. So I'm going to zoom out. So I can just be selecting the colors. So I'm just going to come here. I'm going to reduce it. It's too much. So I'm just going to make it 100 by 100. So I'm just going to use this text. I'm just going to add it here. And let's say, and then come here.
Yeah, sorry, man.
This, and then select and keep. So now the color code. So I'll just copy. So I'm just going the color. So I'm just going to come here and keep this color. Come here. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that I can pick the color. I'm going to pick the twenty and
We can't hear you well. Or is it just me?
No, it's not just you. I think our network is bad.
Yeah,
It's a
same here.
network.
You already said it's raining. Network will be bad.
Yes.
And this, I think this one I'm good to go with this. So I'm going to just make them.
Ma, we're not hearing you. We're not hearing you. The network on your end is quite bad.
Layout, layout, just like auto layout. So you should just be together instead of scattered.
Please, can you see your screen?
No.
My I will try you.
I think it's our network.
Who made this screenshot of the typography? I wanted to, but I forgot. If anybody made a screenshot, please send it to the group.
Miriam, you're on board. The floor is yours.
Oh, yeah, Miriam.
Miriam, the floor is yours. Continue now. Share your screen.
Miriam, share your screen there. Continue now.
Share your screen. Let us learn from you, madam.
You.
If I can share my screen, you guys
Those
only
of
see
you sleeping, those of you sleeping,
Somebody
we are
should
seeing
recap
you.
that. Is Kola here?
my
Wait,
wire frame.
are we not?
I'm here. Kala is here.
Are we not
Kola,
supposed? Are
come
we not
and put
supposed to
us
go on
through
break?
now what you just
Can you
taught
guys hear
us.
me now?
We are
What do
learning.
you say?
Come and put
Are we
us
not
through
supposed to
now.
go on break?
Yeah, we can
You
use
still
this
want to go
space to
on
go on
break?
break.
Yes.
Why don't
Can you guys
you
Which
Eh?
which break are you going?
Ataya, your own house. You're going on break.
Guys, she's there already, please.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
No, ma, we cannot hear you.
No,
How
ma, I
did
cannot hear you.
How did you hear that she asked the question? We cannot hear.
Okay, guys. So since I'm having network issue, like I said, it's raining. So let's go for 30 minutes break and come back by 4.
Okay, ma.
Okay.
Okay, ma. Bye.
Did anybody do a screenshot of the typography?
Please, what did she say?
She said we should go on break for 30 minutes to come back by 4.
All right, good night.
He said good night. Did anybody do a screenshot? Please.
Wisdom, stay here. Hold on till we come back.
Why will I? So nobody did
Don't leave,
screenshot.
oh.
Miriam, did you do screenshot
But which one?
for the typography screen?
When she was working, is it the one when she was working or when she was sharing the slide?
The one when she finished, like that section after she finished.
I did not.
Okay.
Is that beginning one I have?
You did that one. I send it to the group. I send that one. So,
Okay now.
okay.
You
Thank
put
you.
to answer us to teach us now.
I know you have plenty data, Kola Oli. You can wait for the 30 minutes.
Kolawole, you with that last part, me I was lost though. I know the lady was fast.
You shall be
Someone who
seen.
put me through
You were
now.
lost. Don't worry, you will understand.
You shall be
Pray.
seen.
Okay,
Who,
bye bye.
Okay,
the
Bye
are
group
we
is
are we
bye.
not.
on 30 minutes break?
Yes.
30 minutes, yes.
Oh, okay, bye bye. See you guys.
our color palette. So we're creating our color palette. So before we went for break, so this was what we're able to achieve. So now we've created the primary color. So what we're going to do now is to create the darker color, and then we create the accent color. So accent color is something that like I said, it's just 4 colors used for information, the error, warning sign, or warning information, warning notification, and then the sources. So we're going to create our color. Yes, so I'm just automatically going to change this to white. So automatically change this to white. So our white color is just FFF. And since we're using a white background, our white color is not going to be visible. So we're just going to add a little stroke here just to indicate, oh, there is white. We actually use white here. So you can add stroke, or you can use drop shadow. So but for now, I'll prefer we use stroke, and then we change the color to white, which is the FFF. So the color of white is F6F. So then I'm going to generate another color, like another darker color, so I can have the gray and then the black. So I'm just going to duplicate this. So I'm just going to repeat the same format to generate this color. So but before I will do that, I'll have to pick the last color here. So once I pick this last color, I'm just going to, do the same format. So remember, like I said, if you save your tint and shade, automatically it will come to your plugin here. To just come here to stay, to show that, oh, you recently used this particular plugin. But if you save it, it's actually going to be here. So like I said, I've already saved. These are the 3 icons plugin I saved. So that's why it's showing here. But if you did not save it, it will just show that you recently used it here. Okay. So the best is just to save the plugin, so that maybe if you have a plugin, maybe you can actually remember the name. It's just going to be very helpful if you save again. So while we wait for this, it didn't show me a notification that is working. So I'm going to say again. Okay. Okay. So I've gotten what I want. So I think I'll just have to take this ones off. So I'm just going to highlight and delete everything. So I'm just going to drag this to come close, so I can zoom out and pick the color. So this is what I'm going to do. I don't know why my Figma is hanging. So I'm just going to zoom out this white here, because the darker color are much. So we have the black, we have the darker gray, we have the light gray, we have the lighter gray, and then we have white. So these are the colors I'm going to use. Because we have the black maybe for tie 2 or whatever I want to do. So I'm just going to pick the black color here. So I'm just going to change the color code letter. So are you guys stay with me?
Yes, ma, we are with you.
But the screen is hanging.
Are you guys, can you guys, I need to be sure, please.
We are with you,
Yes,
ma.
ma, we are with you. Oh,
Now the screen has gone off.
ma, we can't hear you.
And we can't see your screen too.
I'm not lying, no, nobody.
Wisdom.
I'm not lying, no.
Wisdom, you're not serious. Okay, so let me show you guys how to create layout grid. So now to create layout grid now,
Thank
like
you.
I said, we are creating a web. You're welcome. So we are creating a web landing page. So what frame are we supposed to use for a larger screen for a web landing page? So what is the frame size you're supposed to use?
Desktop.
It's a question and I want you guys to answer.
Desktop.
Desktop.
The size, like the frame size. Yes, it's desktop. I know it's desktop, but what is the size?
1024 by 874.
Be sure of it. 10.
Oh,
1447
You sure
times
of what you're
1.
saying? Is it what she asked you guys to use?
Can you hear me?
no.
I can hear you.
Can you guys hear me?
Is it the desktop frame she asked you guys to use? 104 times what? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we are hearing you, but I don't think there was any time she said we should use anyone. I'm guessing he's saying
She
that
did
figure.
not tell us to use anyone. I'm just giving her a
The
guessing
one you
size.
did, that one you did initially. So I'm thinking that is where he's guessing from, but she has not told us any particular one.
Hello,
Okay.
ma. She did not tell us to use any particular one. I was only guessing.
Okay. Say me now.
We can hear you, but we cannot see your screen.
I will share it back again. I got the call. Sorry. Okay, so I had a conversation with a few developers, and I was asking them what screen do you guys think is okay when implementing designs that you've actually done or Figma, and we are saying that the best screen size for them to work with is desktop frame. And I asked him what's the size. He said 1440 times 1024. So and I said okay, and he said it's easy for them to manipulate it for larger. Different laptop have different sizes. There's 16 inches, there's 13 inches, just like that. There's 14, there's 15 inches, and the sizes of these screens are actually different. And he said it's actually okay for them to work with that size. And since then, that's what I've been using. So what I'm going to use here is going to be the desktop frame. So I'm just going to click on it. So this is it here. So I'm just going to use this here. So once I add it, automatically it goes outside. But I'm just going to bring it in. So once I bring it in, this is how it's going to look like. It's just going to show you plain white because it's a white, it's inside a white background. So I'm just going to So now to create a layout grid is I'm just going to scroll. Before it was somewhere here, but since Figma did update 5 months ago, 4 months ago, 4 months ago, they've changed a lot of things. They've turned Figma not upside down, but they've changed it in different positions. So all you have to do is just to scroll and come to here that's a layout grid. So you're just going to click on this plus icon. So once you click on this plus icon here, it's showing you add layout grid. So
Your
you
screen
just
is
come to
blank.
this
Your
place,
screen is blank.
click on this layout grid settings. So I'm
Your
just going to
screen
put
is
this
blank,
up.
Ma, the screen is
So
blank.
I'm just going to click on.
Hello, ma. Your screen is blank.
Loading.
Can you see it now?
Yeah,
No.
it's showing now. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it.
Okay. I can see now.
So this is a frame inside a white background. Now I want to add the layout grid. So I'll just go scroll down. You see layout grid before export. So I'm going to click on this plus. So once I click on this plus, this is how it's going to look like. So I'm just going to click on this settings here. And this is how it's going to look like. So I'm just going to drag it up so that everybody can see. So I'm going to come to this place that says grid. I'm going to click on this drop down and it's going to be columns. So once I click on it, this is how it's going to be. Now remember I said for web is supposed to be 12. So I'm going to make the count to be 12. So once I make the count to be 12, I think I'm going to work with the blue color. Everything is just looking red in my eyes. So I'm going to, so I'm just going to create the margin to be 80. So now what this means is, now let's, remember I said margin is 18 and gutter is 20. So Figma is giving us the first size. So now this is how it's going to look like now. So I'm going to add a stroke. So let me add a stroke so that to show the size of the screen. So I'm just going to make this minus 0.4. I don't want it to be too black. Okay. Okay, so this is how it's going to look like. Now if you look at this, so let me click out so that I can explain this better. So now if you look at this, now you can see this is actually the size of the desktop, and this is the count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now this is count. This is 12. Now this is the margin. So this left and right space big white spacing is the margin. Why the gutter is the space between the first count and the second count. So if you use rectangle, your shape rectangle to measure it, you'll see that what the setting you set is what you're actually going to get. Between this first line and second line is the gutter. While this big space between the left and the right is the margin, and then so to get together they are called layout grid. Now we've created the first one, we've created the color, we've created this grid system. So the next thing we're going to create. So inside the UI component, there you have your, I thought I duplicated this. Okay. So inside your components, you will have inside your components, you have spacing, you have your whatever you're doing, your like inside your UI component, you have your feedback and notification, you have the spacing and then sizing. So you know your feedback and voice and tune is actually together. So this is like UI component. This is like a UI component, the Oga Pata Pata, and then you have the other babies. But for now, we've created things that are only standing on their own. Okay, every other one are inside the UI components because there are more of reusable elements. So now, before we continue to switch, I'm going to create this my layers grid as part of my local styles, the same way I create for my fonts and the color. So I'm just going to scroll down back to this layout grid. So I'm going to click this place. So just the same way I added colors and fonts, that's the same thing I'm going to do. So this is going to be for web grid. You can just call it web grid. And then we're good to go. So when you create for the mobile, when we start designing the mobile, I'm going to create for the mobile. But if you want to create now, you are free to go. But since there is no time, I want us to cover something in the UI component. That's why I'm just going to say, let's leave the mobile for now and then focus on creating for UI components. So now let's create the button. Let's just create the button. So tomorrow we are going to create for input field. We're going to then look for the design we want to design, and then if there's card, we're going to create card. Then we're going to create for notifications, like that. Before we can now jump into our design tomorrow. Then I'm going to break down how to create auto layouts. Okay. So now what we're going to do is now want to create our button. So what font do you think is okay to use to create for our button? So I think I'll have to go with my font. There's one. So let's just say
Poppins.
no, you can't use Poppins because we actually use plus Jakartans for our font as our font choice. So there's no need for you adding Poppins in this style guide. So I'm talking about the size and width. I'm not talking about the font type. Do you understand? I'm talking to
Yes, ma.
the
Yes,
person
ma.
that mentioned Poppins.
Yes, ma. Yes, ma. Yes, ma.
So I'm just going to come here to select. So the ones I'm going to select this 20 here. So I'm going to select this 20 here, this one. So this is actually standing as, this is actually medium. So for me to be sure, I'm just going to take it out to be sure. Yeah, medium. So medium is actually a perfect font. This particular one, no, I'm not saying it generally, but this particular font size is actually okay for button. So I have this. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose my white color. I'm just going to scroll. Now you can see there's no need of me going there to select the color. It just automatically like this. But before I make it white, so that you guys will see what I'm doing, I'm just going to leave it black like this. And then I'm trying to create a button. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click. I'll add to auto layout. So once I add auto layout, I'm going to give it a fit color. So there's no need of clicking the plus. All you have to do is just click here, and then we'll use our main red. And then scroll and then change this black to our whites. So this is what I have. So I'm just going to come here to say hug. My button is actually hugged. So I'm just going to give it a corner radius, like a corner radius. I don't want the button. Just give me hold. Let me mute somebody. So I don't want my button edge to look so sharp. So I'm just going to give it corner radius. Like if I click out, you see that it is actually looking too sharp. So I don't want it to look too sharp. So I'm just going to give it a corner radius. So this is where I'm going to give it corner radius. So under this appearance, I'm just going to give it a corner radius of 10. So when I give it corner radius of 10, then my button is actually good to go automatically. So once I put my button auto layer, automatically it gives me that sizing. So if I zoom in now to check, you will see that the space here is showing 10. The space here 10, and this here, this is actually 10, and this is 10. Now if I come to this place that say auto layout, you see that the space now, the vertical space is 10, horizontal space is 10, horizontal 10, vertical spacing is 10. You can call it vertical padding or horizontal spacing, but I think the right word to use is padding. But just know that this is the size. But when it comes to auto layer setting, it is padding, just like pad. You get, the pad that you understand what I mean. So so I think I like my button to be in org, so that if I'm trying to type something, let's say if I'm trying to type, like, let's say I want to add a button that say add to carts. So if I'm typing like this now, you see that the size of my font automatically will adjust the size of my button. So you can, let's just use the word, let's use get started so that it will look long. And when I use button, you can see that it was small. So if I type get started, subscribe now, join our community. So as the sentence is long, the word is long, it will just automatically adjust to this. The button will just automatically adjust because you actually use the right size. You actually use the right padding for your button, and you placed your button in hug. So if you make your button, like if you come to, let me click on the button entirely. So if I click on this my button, and I remove it, I remove it from hug to fixed. So if I'm typing a long something, it will not respond. It will just stand like an Iroko tree. But if you put it in hug content, so if you're typing, let's say for example, you just use get started and you want to drag that asset, like I said, you know the same way you just pick your color here. Now you want to drag it here, and you just want to click the get started and then put maybe join our community now. No need for you to start adjusting the button. It will automatically just fill in and give you the right settings and give you the right spacing and sizing already. There's no need for you to start adjusting again. That is one sweetness about auto layout. Like, it's so, I don't know, to me it's just like a joy giver, it's a vibe giver, something that, yes, it takes time when you are building the foundation. It's just like somebody that is trying to build a house, when you're trying to lay the foundation, you're stressful, where you have to pay this, you have to do this, you have to do this and that. But by the time you start living inside the house, you say, it worth time, it worth it, those kind of things. That's how auto layout is. When you start building stuff in auto layout, it's very, very stressful. Like, it's draining, it can be very tricky. But once it balance well, once you get the right settings, you get the right, then you're good to go. That's one thing I love about auto layout. So, but anything I do in auto layout, I'm going to break it down and then teach you guys. Okay. Now I've created my button now with the right settings using auto layout. Okay. So I'm just going to come here to adjust this to button. So this is going to be button. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make, sorry, So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create this in components. So I'm not going to use keyboard shortcut. It's kind of going to be confusing. So I'm just going to right click and then make create component. So this is it. So I'm going to create as component. So once I create component, this is how it will look. To just automatically give me this purple color from white to purple, and then here you see the purple. Now what I'm going to do now is I want to make it a component. It's a UI component. If I drag this thing now, watch. I've duplicated it now. Now watch
The screen is blank.
whatever I do on this button now will affect
No,
this.
the screen is blank.
Now watch. So if I drag this guy
Ma,
down,
the screen is blank.
We can't see your screen again.
can you see my screen now?
No.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes,
It's
yes.
back now.
Okay. So let me delete this guy. Let me just undo. So this is the button I've created in component. So I'm going to add the component. So this is the button I've created in component. Like I said, if I duplicate this button to this place and the text, the write up, let's leave the write up because that's not necessary. Now, what I'm tweeting about components is now if I play around with this button, automatically, if I play around with the main component, the other one will just reflect. It will just reflect. That's one thing about components. Now, let me tell you one easy thing about component, using components in most of your work. Now, let's say, for example, I gave you guys a project, or maybe I gave you guys an assignment, and I said, oh, I want you all to go and design a landing page, and you have to create a style guide. And now you guys have created a style guide, and let's say the first day I was not available to check your work, second day I'm not available to check your work, third day I'm not available to check your work, and you've gone far. You don't want to wait for me to check your work, like you've gone far. And then you're supposed to submit the assignment on Friday, and I came to review your work on a Thursday morning. Now you've gone far. Now remember, you've gone far in your design. You've done your style guide, you've gone far. And then on Thursday morning, I will not say, everybody send your link, let me review your work. Okay, join class, let's review your work. And then you join the class for us to review your work. And I saw Wisdom's work. Now I'll say, Wisdom, I don't like, and now Wisdom has already done his button in component. And I'll tell Wisdom, I don't like the size of this your button. It's too long, it's too sharp, and you need to just make this button to look like the one we did in class. Now imagine Wisdom has already done like 6 buttons. Like Wisdom has already copied the button and then place it in 6 different sections. Now instead of Wisdom to start adjusting the button one, which is actually going to take time, all Wisdom needs to do is just go to the main component and make the adjustments. So once you make the adjustment on the main component, automatically it will affect other ones. Now I'm going to whose name I'm going to use as an example. Okay, where's Mary? Now let's say Mary now. Mary did not create her buttons in component. She just created one. She didn't do it in component. She just made it one, auto layout like that. And she has already used it in 8 places in her design. Then I like said, Mary, I don't like this your button. You need to adjust it. Imagine the time Mary will start adjusting one button, duplicate, adjust, duplicate, adjust. It will take time, but with components, you just go to the main component and make the adjustment. Automatically, it will reflect in all the button everywhere that you use it, as long as it is on that file. It will just automatically update. That's one sweet thing about component. That's one great thing I love so much about component. Now you can see that if I drag this button here, you will see that this one will follow too. to follow. So whatever I do here, whatever I do on the main component, others will just follow. That is one thing about component, others will just follow. So for now, we don't need this guy, so I'm just going to delete it. So going to create now inside a component, like inside one compound, I'm going to create father and mother, like primary button and secondary button, but both of them are going to be inside one component. So I have created this as a component. Now I'm going to create this as a variant. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to so I'm just going to come here. So I'm not going to right click. I'm just going to come to this place that says button because I have renamed this place. That's why it's showing here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3 and click on this icon. So once I click on this icon, add variant, automatically it will duplicate. So once it duplicates, it will show you that 1 is variant 1 and 1 is variant 2. But they are inside one component. Now, but they are in the same pattern. Now, what we are creating is the primary button and the secondary button. So I'm just going to play around with this second one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come here to turn it. The text is going to be red and the background is going to be white. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come here. I'm just going to open this one, not to confuse me. So I'm just going to open this one first, not to confuse me. So I'll come to my fill color and then I'll select white. So I'll just come to my fill color to select white. And then this white here, I'll just come here to select my main color red. So it's just like I'm changing it. Now, once I change it, you see that this white now, how do I tell that this is actually, there's a button here? How do I tell this is actually a button, not a text? Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to come to this stroke and I'm just going to come here and select my main red, my main primary one. So I'll just select it. This is how it's going to look like. So I think this is actually looking too bold. So I can just come here to, reduce it to be less than 1. So I'm just going to use 0.7. So if I use 0.7, this is how it's going to look like. But since this text is actually looking bold, so I think I'll have to go with 1. Then another thing is the size of your button matters a lot. You get? So it's just like the size. Remember I said whatever button you're going to use on the web, that's what you're going to use on the mobile. That's what you're going to use on the mobile. So that's what you're going to use on the mobile. And now the mobile now will determine the thumb of your thumb, how you're going to press the button. So what I normally advise people to use, your button height should be between 45 to 60. So that's what you're going to use. That's the best. So it applies to on the web, or web deals with more of lesser size, which is going to be 40 to 55. But for mobile, it's going to be 45 to 60. So let's see the size of this our button here. So the size of this our button is 45, which is actually not bad, which is okay. So I think we are going to leave this way. So now before we round up with anything concerning this UI button, UI component button. So I'm just going to click on this first one and I'll come here and I will change this adjustment. Now this property, I will change this default text to primary button, and then I'll click on the second one, and then I'll clean this variant 2 that is showing here, and then I'll change it to secondary button. So if I'm designing a landing page that I know that I want to add learn more with an arrow, read more, or icon, not even arrow, just with icon, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on this particular one. I'll just click on this plus here. So once I click on this plus, automatically I have generated another button and it's going to show me variant 3. So I can come here to just pick one arrow. So let's check if these guys are open. So it's still loading due to bad network. So I'm just going to use So I'm just going to use this arrow here, but I'm going to change it once this icon opens. So I'm just going to use this arrow here. So I'm just going to use this arrow here and going to zoom in. Just place it somewhere there. Just click anywhere to show. This is it. So I'm just going to reduce it now. This is too much. So I'm just going to reduce it. So let's see if the shape okay, this is the shape I want. So I'm just going to cut it and then I'll click inside this my button here and then I'll paste it. So once I paste it, you can see that the button automatically has adjusted. So I'm just going to just adjust this. Now, the reason why it's giving me this cool spacing between here and here and here is because I actually use auto layout. That is one sweet thing about auto layout. To just help you automatically arrange your work. So if you're not comfortable or you don't like this spacing here, all you have to do is just click on the arrow and click the text. So once you click on this tool, you can now make it auto layout. So once you make it auto layout, the next thing you're going to do, you're just going to reduce the spacing. If you don't want it to be 10, you can reduce it to be 5. You can reduce it to whatever number you think is okay. And then you now change the color to white. So once you change the color to white, this is what you have. So you can now come here to change the name to button with icon. You can see primary button with icon or button with icon. So if you want to design secondary button with icon, then you have to name this with primary button with icon. Okay.
Sorry, the screen display is low.
So now we are done with anything concerning
Sorry, ma'am.
So we are done with anything concerning button. So now this is what is going to happen. So we're going to place this here. So I'm going to change this to UI components. You can just change components, you can add UI, you can add whatever you want to add. It's just know that it's component. So now to get this component, now let's say
Mama, I find club is
so now let's say you've created your style guide in page 1 and you want to enter page 2 for your UI. So there's no need of going to page 1 to copy and paste. So all you have to do is just click on assets. So when you click on assets, it will show you one local, it will show you to just show you this. So what you have to do is just click here to show you button. So you just drag. So once you drag, you just drop it here. You just drop it here. Page 2. No, if you are in page 1, anywhere other page you are, just know that automatically it will just give. So what you just have to do is just to come here and then change this to your style guide. So once you change this to your style guide, I Figma is freezing. Oh,
It has been freezing for a while now, and the audio has not been syncing with the visual. We'll probably just hopefully tomorrow.
So once you've So you can just change it here. So no need of going to page one to copy, page two to copy. So what you just have to do, just when you're in page two, you're designing your UI. Say, okay, your page one is going to be your style guide, and then page two is going to be your UI design, or maybe your page. Let's say your page one is your low fidelity wireframe, page two is style guide, your page three is going to be your UI design. So there is no need for you to start going back to the previous page to copy. All you have to do is just click on the assets, you just which of the page, you select the page, because definitely you will rename your pages. So once you select the page, you just click like this, it will just show you which of the components. So that is why it is very important whenever you're creating your components, like whenever you're creating your component, you need to rename them. Like you need to use the right name so that it will not be very difficult for you to look for it in the assets. Because if you don't rename it, it will be very difficult for you to tell which of them is that. Okay, so basically this is all for creating button. If you want to add any other button, you can add any other button. Let's say for example you want to create a secondary button that has an icon with an icon. So you can go ahead and create the secondary button with icon. But since you're creating a simple landing page, I don't think we need a secondary um, button with an icon. So I think these three are good to go. This is going to be used for a white background, and this is going to be used for a colored background. And this is actually going to use for a white background just to tell my user to read more, see more, hear more, think more, whatever more they want to do. Okay, so we are going to end for today. We're going to end for today, and um hopefully Figma will not hang. So the reason why my Figma is hanging is because I don't shut down my laptop. I have been working since 4 a.m. up to now. So that's the reason. So and definitely the only time it's going to rest is maybe from 10
Yeah,
p.m. or
done.
12 till,
Twali, mama.
the end of the class tomorrow.
It's the
So
end of the class tomorrow.
yes.
Wow.
So let me copy the attendance link and send to you guys. So I'm going to drop it on the chat box. So should I give people assignments? No.
No. No, ma, please. This one you
Assignment.
only
Okay, they have already dropped the attendance link. Assignments will come tomorrow because by then we are done with style guide and we are done with creating something. So definitely we are going to give out